Let's welcome in political commentator and host of the Q with Q, Quentin Jiles. Welcome back to BNC Live.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Nice to have you. All right. So what do you make of the pushback to this commission?
Yeah, the pushback from the Republicans is really a bad faith pushback. As we just recently heard Mitch McConnell say that he has stated his opinion very clearly. It doesn't make sense if you've stated your opinion that you think that the former president incited this and that those insurrectionists that stormed the Capitol, that they were wrong. Why would you not support a bipartisan commission that does not have any congressmen or women on the commission, very independent, to find out what happened, to find out if there was any coordination, if there were any planning, who paid for the people to get there. So it's really it's bad faith to push back on this, and I would say that a lot of people are agreeing with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer that it seems as though the Republicans are still drunk on the big lie that this election was stolen.
So if all Democrats supported the bill, it would need 10 Republicans to overcome a filibuster. 7 GOP senators voted to convict former President Donald Trump of incitement. So are there, do you think, enough Republicans willing to take on the wrath of McCarthy and also the Trump loyalists?
One would hope that they would put country over party, whether that brings wrath or whether that brings Hallmark cards and hugs. We've seen Susan Collins come out and say that she would support the legislation if there are some minor tweaks. And so there seems to be a crack within the Republican conference, as a lot of infighting is happening, to lead one to believe that there are enough Republicans to vote for this. But if they don't, it is really just another factor to get rid of the Senate filibuster, which is not a constitutionally approved thing that happens in the Senate, so that we can get this pushed forward so the American people can find out what actually happened.
What message do you think it would send if there isn't enough Republican support to get this commission started?
Well, seeing as how our country is so starkly divided, I think it's really just going to dig everyone in their own individual corners already. But as Nancy Pelosi said in that press conference, if they don't do it in a bipartisan fashion, which they say they want to, she could always kick it to a committee and just allow the Democrats to have the majority of the power to see this thing through. I think no matter where you are, Republican, Independent, Democrat, you have already made your determinations on what happened on that day. What we need now is just the actual facts. We need to follow the money. We need to find out who coordinated that. We saw people in tactical gear with flexi cuffs. We heard about people smearing feces and defecation on the walls of Congress on a day that the Constitution says we need to count those votes. That is a part of our democracy. And so feelings will be feelings no matter what side of the aisle you're on, but we need the facts of what happened, and then we can have that discussion on what we do after it.
What do you think of the Republicans who are constantly trying to bring Antifa into this and say that, that is a big factor in what we're seeing in these riots and protests across the country?
It's more of the Republican culture war. What we're seeing is not a lot of policy from the Republican Party, but they're fighting these culture wars. Antifa, nor Black Lives Matter, nor people who support the Black Lives Matter movement ran in the Capitol. Antifa and Black Lives Matter did not chant "Hang Mike Pence." Antifa and Black Lives Matter did not try to almost kill members of Congress and the vice president and his family. And so it is another culture war. It's a talking point to rile up their base, to push back, because it does seem as though they're protecting Donald Trump. And it seems as though they don't want to take the hard votes. They don't want to say the actual truth because they are scared of a growing populist base for the Republican Party. You have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who supports the QAnon movement, who seems to have a grip on the party. And so it's a bad faith argument. Antifa and Black Lives Matter weren't there. Insurrectionists were at that Capitol, and that is what we need to be focused on.
So don't you think then that they should allow, if that's what the Republicans want, shouldn't they then just say, yeah, okay, go ahead and investigate them too? Clearly you can see all these Trump signs. Clearly you can see what's going on here. Why shouldn't they just go ahead and let them say, yeah, include that in the commission task report as well?
No. Absolutely not. We don't reward bad behavior. That I think that argument would almost suggest, well, a child is crying, and so since they're throwing a temper tantrum, we cave in and give them what they want instead of dealing with the actual issue of the bad behavior. We are talking about a real present threat to our democracy. We are not talking about people who are, as far as the Black Lives Matter movement, justifiably protesting in the street because Black bodies are being desecrated at the hands of police. We're not talking about Antifa in the streets of Portland raising mischief and protesting for their various reasons. We are specifically talking about people who came to attack a co-equal branch of government. That is the bottom line. They attacked a co-equal branch of government on a day that the Constitution says we should have. So you cannot call one a patriot and then you attack the patriotic democratic process that we have in place. So no, the Democrats should not cave to the Republicans and just allow them to investigate anything they want. Stick to the issue, find the truth, and make recommendations, as Benny Thomas, chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, said, so that we don't have this happen again.
Well, it certainly will be interesting to see what comes out of this vote, but we're out of time. Quentin, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. We really appreciate it.